Yeah, baby. Yeah. The Mac is back. Back with another video. Hello, the initiated. My name is Marcus Junikala, and today we're checking out Zero G Elements Kepler. Apparently a collaboration between Zero G Xphonic. I presume Xphonic is Stefano Maccarelli's company, and Stefano is that's my best Italian, by the way. So I presume that's his company. He is the developer of this library, and obviously we've checked out a ton of Ethera stuff on this channel, all of which I love. So you know, he's the same man behind that line. So very interested in actually digging into these. I know Zero G has a bunch of other stuff that I haven't, just been digging into. So very excited to have a look beyond the Ethera series. And obviously if Stefano is behind this one as well, I have no reason to presume that it's going to be anything else than at least very good. But in terms of what Kepler is, they call this the ultimate hybrid scoring library for cinematic and video game music composers. They mention some sources of inspiration. Stefano drew inspiration for its sound design from the incredible sonic landscapes by Hans Zimmer from the Dune films, and Ludwig Göransson scores for Tenet and Oppenheimer. So obviously very specific, distinctive sources of inspiration. That being said, I always take these with a grain of salt, and I encourage other people to do that as well, because just because something is inspired by something doesn't mean it can't do things beyond it, nor does it mean that you should create a copy of the Dune soundtrack or Tenet or Oppenheimer, etc., which I'm sure is a very obvious thing for many of you. But I also have quite often encountered people saying, well, what's the point, because those soundtracks have already been made and I don't want to sound like Zimmer or Göransson. So it's use your creativity and listen to the sounds and be inspired and do your own thing. So not a concern in my books. They call it Kepler is a sound toolkit designed to help you effortlessly craft your own musical sound design, inspiring immediate creativity. Then there's a bit of info about Stefano, 26 years experience, audio industry, film music, etc. Go check him out. Also seems like an awesome dude. In terms of what's included in Elements Kepler, I will touch on the series title, Elements. So I believe Elements is the title of the series. I believe there are two other libraries in this Elements series already, I think. It's a bit of a, because when I read Elements, I think, okay, this is a kind of a lighter library. It's like a light version of something bigger. Not at all the case here. This is like a fully fledged big boy. So I presume by Elements they mean it's done in a certain style, and they want to just call that style like an element. But this is not like a light snack. It's not like a slice of a bigger pie. This is a big pie, which kind of makes me partially dread making this demo or this video, not because I'm not looking forward to hearing this, which I very much am, but because I know we cannot even scrape the surface of digging into everything that's here. Having had a look of the size of this and the content here, I dread it because I simply cannot show, certainly not everything in there to you, but I kind of dread it because I'm at least hoping I'm doing it some justice by scraping the surface and showing you some of the stuff that's in here. We'll have a look at the library folder structure, etc. You'll get an idea of what I mean. But yeah, it's always a sucky feeling if I feel like I can't show enough of it to you, but we'll try and do our best here. So what's included? 20 multi-sampled NKI contact instruments. All right, over 30 gigs. So not a giant boy, but not a small boy. Again, if I read elements, I'm thinking, okay, it's a few gigs. No, it's 30 gigs, and for this type of library, it's kind of a big size. But again, footprint not gigantic, but not, it's not like 200 or 300 gigs like some orchestral libraries might be. Core designer with over 400 multi-sampled sound elements. Texture designer with organic textures, violins, choirs, and more. Thousands of cinematic snapshots, snapshot presets with the installer for the core and texture designer. All right. Low perk, high perk, folk perk, 12 round robins up to 5 dynamic levels, trailer hits with 6 round robins. Very good. You can never have too many of those. Multi-sampled bass instruments, whoosh, boom, risers, stings. So again, I always say this, there are never enough libraries in this category, so very happy to have more swooshes and booms and risers and stings. Male vocal drone, true legato. Female vocal drone, true legato. Choir breath voxels with different syllables. So yeah, a bunch of stuff, and again, we're going to look at the folders. It's just like this is big. Price wise, and these all prices are excluding VAT if it is applicable to you. Full price will be $109.95. There's a 3-week intro price, so this is coming out today, 17th May. I happen to be filming this today as well, on the same day it's going to come out. Cool. 3-week intro price will be 15% off, bringing it to $92.95. Extra 20% off for Elements and Ethera loyalty customers. So presumably if you have an Elements library or Ethera something, then you'll get the extra 20% off. I presume this means on top of the intro price, but I could be wrong about that. Check it out. But yeah, if you have one of those, definitely use the use the extra discount. Yeah, 3-week launch offer ends Friday, 7th June 2024. This one says 2023, but I presume we're not going to go back in time. So there you go. All right, I think that covers the basics here. I think next up, I'm going to take myself into Studio One, and I'm going to open the side pane, which is what I unfortunately have every once in a while. Yeah, so this is the Kepler main folder. Goes into instruments and system. Obviously, we're not going to be in system. We're going to be in instruments. So this is what opens up. So here are the, I thought they said 20 something. Okay, yeah. 20 instruments. And then you have something called Kepler. I don't know why I said that in my shitty Italian imitation, but voice, scream, then you have presumably a key, and then BPM. Okay, cool. So we have Kepler Core Designer opened up here already. And in here, this is where you begin to see what I mean by big boy. Open up the menu here, you have 18 different folders of stuff. Most of these don't have subfolders, but some of them do. And, you know, you got some significant amount of stuff in here. Again, we're gonna have to be quite brutal about what we can look at and what not. Hopefully it sort of gets lighter towards, you know, the deeper we go. But yeah, okay. Instant cues folder. We're gonna go into rhythmic. We're gonna do, let's say, 5 of these, and then just move on from there. In terms of what you'll be hearing today, it's only Kepler in action. I don't add any effects, no EQ, no compression, no reverb, no delay, nothing. Only in the library as it is out of the box. I only have a limiter on my master bus to bring the level up for this video so that it's sort of consistent and more decent sounding. But it's set to be as transparent as possible. If you hear any clipping, it's probably the limiter. I'll let you know either way. If it isn't, well, I'll certainly let you know if it's the library. And in terms of transparency, 0G did send me this copy. So first of all, thank you to them for doing so. That being said, all opinions are my own, both in good and bad. Haven't been asked to say anything one way or the other, nor would I ever do that. Cool. Briefly looking at the interface, you got your titles. Apparently this, at least the core designer here, works in 3 layers, which you can jump into and choose from a very large number of different layers, sequences, experimental synth, whatever you can. Yeah, this is so much stuff here. So again, if there's something you don't like in a layer, you can just jump in there and change it. We got volume controls here. We got some a sub menu with the ADSR control, bandpass, tape, tone, low pass, LFO, hertz, amount, etc. So bunch of tweakability. In terms of the interface design and look, it comes across a bit oldish to me, like something I'd probably seen, you know, a few years ago. Not like not a huge problem at all. It's just more visual. This is very, very usable and, you know, smartly. I don't know if that's a word, but kind of ironic. But yeah, well laid out, easy to follow, no issues here. I guess these are sort of master ADSR controls. Oh no, it says layer 2, right? Does it? No. I guess layer 2 refers to the LFO and amount here. Then you got more pages for modulations, arpeggiator, and effects rack. So kind of typical style if you are familiar with the Ethera stuff. Although I will say the Ethera visual look has been sort of more modern and updated compared to the look of Kepler here. Don't know why. Maybe it's the graphic resolutions and yeah, but it comes off as a bit older looking. But yeah, pretty simple, easy to follow. So that's the most important thing. Well, the most important thing is the sound. So second most important thing. But let's play this one. This one is called Time Is Up. So basically you can see that these layers are mapped to these different zones. So got this percussive thing, imaging-y. Then we have this very nice, sharp, and very well imaged synth rhythm bed. brass-like. Yeah, super cool. Very very nicely balanced. Super ready to go. Okay, number 2 from... Let's do Black Siren. That's the limiter. So, okay, there will be a bit of a level fluctuation here. Obviously, every sound is going to be of different level, but bear with me as I try and find a decent level here. Very cool, kind of minimally tonal, more sort of percussion focused. Discovery. Yeah, I mean, the production quality here is coming through very nicely. I mean, like this bass alone, super like polished, ready to go. Perfectly sharp, not too overbearing. Let's do Eclipse. I mean, again, yeah, beautifully balanced. Very, obviously, I love this kind of percussive leaning stuff. But yeah, it's super sharp. But again, it's these kind of libraries can easily become very harsh sounding and sort of brittle and cold. So they sound impressive once you start playing them immediately. But then after a while, your ear gets tired. But these ones are super well balanced. You can hear that they're mixed in a very mature way, so that they're not gonna do that, which is a very, I'm happy to see that this level of mixing is getting into the world of sample libraries, because there are quite a few companies that are really developing fast on that front. So this is really, really nice. Let's do one more from this folder. Yeah, what I really like about this is that they are they reside in a nice place of how should I put it, minimal. They're still tonal, but it's like they want to lean away from that world. Certainly you wouldn't want to get very harmony intensive with those sounds. But yeah, rhythmic cues, you probably get the idea. The super refined stuff. Atmospheric cues. Let's again do a few of these. That is the limiter. Very nice. Again, kind of the same theme, continuing. It sort of wants to be more percussive, more soundscapey. Let's do dark mood, because that's what I have. Atmospheric cues, acoustic guitar in the sand. Nice. This is the hardest part, choosing the presets. Let's do the station. Limiter crapping out. Quite a bit of level fluctuation here. But obviously that's like not a criticism, it's only relevant in relation to the limiter here. Yeah, it kind of like the sounds do dictate a lot of what you can do. Obviously, you can do stuff, but it won't necessarily sound good, you know, if you try and harmonize in a certain way. Yeah, very nice. One more. Book space. Dystopic cues. Let's do hallucinations. love that kind of stuff. Again, you know, between the tonal and the percussive, certainly this top end element, I love that kind of stuff for certain things. Obviously, that's a lot of fun. The hanger. Interesting. There's like a kind of a melodic sequence there going, but it's sort of tucked underneath, so you don't necessarily notice it on an individual line. The creator. Oh yeah, we accidentally boosted the limiter. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, you could go into the ARP. Can you... trying to see if you can, if it takes pitch into consideration or whether it's coming from the modulations. I guess it depends on... Is the... Wait a minute. Yeah, so what I'm trying to figure out is whether the ARP is global, but apparently, yeah, we don't have the ARP on here, so it's coming from some kind of modulation source, presumably. Anyway, no time to look at that. Let's do Quantum Machine. Shitty idea melodically, but hey, I'm just here to demonstrate the sounds, right? Triplet cues. Okay, so you got these things in triplets as well, which is, by the way, super cool and super important inclusion. This is what I love also in the newer Heaviosity releases, because they have both of those in categories, you know, straights and triplets. So tremendously, obviously, diversifies the usability here. Let's just do a couple of from here. So yeah, every time you trigger a note, it's at least by default, it's not synced. They're not synced to one another. And again, I don't know where that pattern is coming from. I presume it's modulation source. But yeah, you need to time it well or quantize. That's a super good sound, a great example of something that's really punchy and present, but it's not intrusive, it's not harsh. very pleasant to listen to, very easy. So that's gonna really punch through a mix very nicely, and easy to mix, if at all. Hitting the limiter a bit too much there. Not a great idea musically, but beautiful sound again. Then we have something called tension rising. What happened there? Okay, so those kind of tension builders, you got two of those. So that's anyway, moving on. Rhythmic Odyssey. That's the limiter crapping out. Probably better to use that on its own. Wouldn't double anything there. So yeah, these seem to be, you know, kind of rhythmic tension builders. Very nice sound, beautiful distortion there pairing with the percussive elements. That's a very, very nicely done thing. Let's do one more from this folder. That's really, really cool. I would probably take the washy element out of there first, just for personal taste. But again, that's super, super immersive. Like they say, it is legit, genuinely very inspiring, and you get this really, really high level production quality and good mixed sounds right out of the box. So yeah, I mean, this is the thing, like, which blows me away. Like, the value here is so bonkers. There's just so much stuff. I mean, we're looking at one instrument so far and one folder. We've gone through one main folder here, and we got 17 left. So there's, like, I hope you understand how impossible my task is here, but and I, you know, I wish I could just show you everything. But then you got a rhythmic cues folder going into straight lows, straight highs, triplet lows, triplet highs. again, loving this layout, the structure here, super fast and good for composers, because I might know, okay, my track needs a low rhythmic element, and then I can just go in here and pick from one of these. We're gonna have to discriminate very hard here. Let's do ostinato. Yeah, great sounding. Again, same kind of balance, same kind of polish is here. It's just super punchy, present, but it's not harsh. Hopefully that gives you an idea. Okay, you got 45 of those in here. Obviously they're all very different, but you get the idea. Straight highs, let's do Kepler system. Yeah, that you would have to go get rid of that sequenced melody bit there to get rid of that. I want to try and understand this, where it's coming from, but as far as I can tell, it must be coming from it's either in the sample or it's, because the arpeggiator seems to be global. I can't seem to choose which element is being arpeggiized. Yeah. So it's probably based on this. That's the macro control. Level offset. Okay, so offsetting. Okay, I gotta turn off this ARP. I'm trying to. Ooh, that octaver is pretty powerful control. Yeah, I don't know what's creating that melodic pattern. I would guess it's in the sample based on this, because with an LFO, that's too much of a patternized melody too. But I can't locate like a pitch sequencing thing here. Yep. That's my guess, but I'm sorry I can't figure that out based on this limited look. But that sound is absolutely stellar. Absolutely fantastic. Then you go triplet lows. Yeah, so I'm guessing that pattern is in the sample. Best guess, triplet highs. Cool. Yeah, I really got to figure out where the pattern is coming from, because that will obviously influence the flexibility of those sounds a lot. But as far as I can tell, just looking at this, trying to piece this together, I believe it's in the sample itself. I mean, when I open this menu, I see the sample here, but obviously I can't see pitch from that. But yeah, looking at the pieces at play here, you wouldn't be able to separate the rhythm pattern from the percussive element in the audio. And also I'm not seeing any movement here in any of the LFOs, so it's not doing that. And the ARP doesn't have a pitch element, doesn't seem like. And it's not doing anything. So I conclude it's in the sample. Okay, sorry about that, but just trying to be as fair as possible here and trying to figure things out, even with my swivel brain. Hybrid percussion. Again, got a pretty hefty folder with 50 different options here. We're gonna do 5. Okay, seem like anything in the zone just triggers the same sample. So these ones definitely have more, or this preset has more compression going on, a bit more of that like coldness in the reverb and the sound. Obviously that comes down to taste a lot, but this is, to me, not as balanced as the synth elements there. It's sort of a bit too squashed and cold to my taste. That's a lot better to my taste again. And again, you can go into the effects rack. You can undo the things you don't want to do. So that's super, super solid. Yeah, that's a really good thing that they're not baked in. Makes this super versatile, much more. Yeah, the thing is, like, there's so much content here. It's, for me, from a demo standpoint, very overwhelming, but obviously from like a customer getting a bunch of stuff in here, you can spend months going through this library and getting to know it and use it. So this is, obviously the question is this like the best way to sparse out all of this content? Because then you have these smaller presets that basically have, you know, just like a one simple loop or a combination of loops. So maybe having a way of bringing more of them together under one preset would be faster. Obviously the difficulty is categorizing them, putting them, you know, because these names do mean something, and they do guide you in terms of you know, what you might be after. Just the limiter. Yeah, these can be super useful if you find specifically something that you're after. I'm probably not the best customer for this from that perspective, because I like at least more versatility. If I'm using like a loop, then I want to tweak it as much as possible. Again, not to say you can't use this engine to tweak, but again, you know, you have one sample going here. You can go and take effects off, obviously, and you can do a bunch of stuff to it. Yeah, and oftentimes I like to write my own percussion, so I'm not the best person to be, you know, giving comments about that. Okay, so you got some booms over there. Let's go into Brahms. Okay, so these ones are all in here. Yeah, Brahms sounding really, really good. What I'm wishing was here was a key switch control. Okay, so it is there. It's just okay, good that I found it. So this is super useful. So you can actually, you know, change things pitch wise on the fly. That's good. Let's go into risers. Cool. Can never have too many of those. I don't know what signal is. Let's do signal C. I actually really like these type of things. Looking for those percussive but pitched elements. That's really, really solid. And we have something called clocks. Not sure why the pitch rises if I have the pitch selector here. Okay, it doesn't. Okay, it does work. So not sure why these also change in pitch. But there you have textures. Really liking these spacey pad type of things, at least so far. Let's do Kepler's Wind. Yeah, that top end, you can hear the pitching changing a bit too much, so I would probably put more reverb on that. Sounds a bit too like being pitched. Let's do Kepler's strings. Limiter clipping. Regarding the... So they call it texture. So I presume they would... These are not... They probably didn't make them with more like pad typey things in mind. Would I play that? That's what I'm thinking. Like more like... Because textures could be taken in terms of like, hey, there's no pitched content here necessarily. Or like the detectable pitch isn't super obvious. It is for these, at least so far in these ones we've had a look. For me, so that's why I'm leaning towards using them like a pad. I would love to hear a bit more sort of motion there if you were using them as pads. In terms of like just texture, if they would be sort of sound designy thingies, they are definitely more pitched than I would, you know, expect for something that I would call textures. And as a pad, I would probably want to hear a bit more movement there, so I would play with the modulations to make them a bit less static. Let's do one more here. Let's do A Storm is Arriving. Again, the core sounds are solid. Again, here I would want to hear a bit more movement, liveliness, that it's evolving and changing. And also the at least for this kind of use that I'm intuitively going for, I would want to hear the same kind of EQing that we heard in the instant cues, because they were like super polished. These ones bit more like I would EQ a bit of that harshness out of there in the top end. The low end is fine, but that's what I would do there. Okay, moving on to vocal pedals. Nice, cool. Again, there's obviously a change in pitch there, which I will presume is in the sample itself. So again, that kind of limits what I can do with it. Obviously I can just use parts of it, but there you go. So this is useful. They're actually named just in the way that they're sung. So yeah, I probably would prefer to have the stuff in, stay in the same pitch, because then there are, a number of ways you can pitch the stuff afterwards if you want. And if they are these kind of pedals, I would prefer a fixed pitch. And as far as I can tell, it's not in the engine, but it's rather in the sample. Let's do a couple of more. So yeah, I would much prefer these in these styles, because then I can play with the harmony myself a lot better. Again, I will say that the mix here isn't at the same level as the instant cues and the rhythmic cues are. A bit, just again, this is very subjective. Somebody, you know, everybody likes different types of sounds, but too much reverb there and a bit too on the harsh end. Again, nothing you can't EQ out yourself, but just a subjective observation there. Yeah, and I love on these ones, that's a lot of reverb. I know it's stylistic, but I would do it slightly differently, because they get a bit dense. Yeah, I love just playing with the starting point, the trigger point. You can do a lot of really cool patterns with that, so I really like rhythmic pedal vocal stuff. You can also hear the pitching happening here, but I actually like that sound. It has a specific sound, but I really like that. Electric guitar. I was not expecting to see that here. Geez, you got 3 folders. There's so much stuff here. This is generally the hardest part of making this demo, is because it's so comprehensive that I just it's very difficult for me to feel like I'm doing it any justice. Oh, I'm really liking that. Again, I like that. It's sort of puffy, but also punchy. Again, this kind of leans to a better mix balance for me. And again, I love that doesn't really come across as a guitar. It probably was originally, but again, it's become its own sound here. Liking that sound. It's a good balance of bit of grit and presence, but it's sort of, there's a puffy quality to it. There's so much stuff in here. That is the limitar. Interesting that they chose to put the chugging up here, because that's usually a sound that I'd expect to be at the lower end, and then have the melodic be up. Also interesting that when you go down to C sharp, it's actually an octave up. So why that's not here, where it actually is interesting. move on to processed. Just take random something here. Obviously some of these are, as you can see, they're not named any more accurately. So you're just gonna have to get to know them yourself. Again, we have some pitch fluctuation there. So you can pretty much use those as kind of fixed note points. Bass and guitar, let's take one of those randomly. Super cool. I love how that's, again, very polished, but it has a raw quality to it. It's like we're in the garage. Really liking the sound of that. That's super, super solid. Makes me want to do more in bass and guitar combos, but I mean, we're still, again, remember, we're still in this one instrument, and we're barely past the halfway point, and my brain is already melting. I am pretty tired, so I do apologize. Kepler's Dance. I'm so annoyed I don't have my sunglasses down here with me. There we go. Best demo I've ever done. Simply based on that. That's really cool. Super, super cool. Very, very much ready to go. Very polished. Dystopian world. And again, obviously you can hear that. That's very much leaning towards being wanted to use as kind of like a focal point around which other things would be moving, because doing harmony with that doesn't sound very good. Laser. No more dancing. Ostinato. You could just do club music with this. Very cool. Yeah, very diverse set of things. Sequences. There's so much in here. I think like Contact 7's filter has gotten so much better. It sounds really, really good. This sound super polished. I'm super ready to go. Like again, this like mix wise up there. Really, really, really stellar stuff. Same thing here. All of these kind of sequences, these percussive patterns, all of these have been just fantastically mixed. Hybrid. My brain is melting. Hybrid distortion. Nice. That was the limiter crapping out, not the library. Yeah, I mean, just so much stuff in here. Metals and objects. Very cool. Love that sound. Again, plucky, but it has that very pleasant soft edge. Makes it super easy to listen to. I mean, just like taking that randomly there, that was just a fantastic sound. Yeah, not my type of a category, like a belly mallet. Again, same thing here. Super punchy, present, but it has that pleasant edge to listen to that puffiness. Keys and synths. We'll do Kepler's EP. It's a bit squashed to my taste, but it's there if you're going for that sound. Cool. So oftentimes these libraries have these kind of like smaller presets like that. So one very specific thing for one thing. It can be, you know, in terms of navigating this library, has perks and ups and downs. So it's kind of a personal preference type of thing. Spacey pad. Solitude. some pitchy elements there. Arpeggiators. Jeez. That is super punchy and puffy. Again, remarkable how it pierces through so nicely, but it doesn't get harsh at all. Let's do one more here. Cool. Okay, just trying to move on here. So that was the Chord Designer, which is 1 out of 20 instruments. Looking at the Kepler Texture Designer. By the way, if you hear any funny noises coming from here, there's a giant crane going above us right now. So there you go. In Texture Designer, you got 10 folders, which all have at least quite a few sounds, some more than others. Hybrid textures, again, we gotta just pick something. Again, these ones compared to some of the textures we heard in the previous instrument, these are a lot more livelier. There's movement, there's textural changing. So these are so much better in this use case than what we heard previously. Here again, the profile is a lot better. It does get sort of level or less movement inclusive there as you sustain for longer. So maybe those could tweak in a bit more liveliness or a longer sort of evolution. That's a good example of something that is texturally quite rich, but also still works in the pitch there. I'd probably, for that kind of pad-like behavior, I would adjust the release to be a bit sort of longer. But again, that's kind of tough to decide probably as a designer, how long are you going to make it, because everybody wants to use it differently. Let's do one more here. Sunken Ruins. Absolutely love this, the blue zone stuff here. Super, just like a perfect sound for that kind of stuff. loving that. Just a bit of tweaking with the release, maybe a bit of reverb changes, but again, fantastic. These are really cool. Choir textures. Man, voxel texture. So I'm not typically a big user of these type of sounds, just telling it right out of the gate. Obviously it depends very much on what's happening there, but a bit too, maybe not too much, not enough movement there for my taste. Sounds a bit too synthy to me, and again, that could be a good or bad thing depending on what you're doing, but I would either go for more synthiness or not at all, but still. Woman. Ooh. That clipping was the limiter, or the crane is working really hard up there. Not that kind of, there was some kind of a phrasing shift there in between. I'm not sure what, if anything, triggered it. Is it just like a loopy thing? But that sounded really cool. Again, that's more like stylized, gentle female choir, so I like that. Moving on to solo vocals. So I'm trying to figure out what it's, because it does give you melody, but then I don't know how it controls the phrases there. And there is pitch changes in the individual lines as well, which kind of affects the sound, obviously. Again, here the pitch, I don't understand why. I would much prefer to have the, if it goes into lower pitching, I would rather have it here in the zone. Obviously here it's not possible because they already have something there. Not sure the reasoning behind that, because it kind of jumps back down to this octave. But yeah, but I mean, you can do really beautiful stuff with that. I do like that. Celestial Voyage. Yeah, so here again it jumps, plays an octave lower, actually, when it, you know, once you go past this note. Cool. I mean, yeah, it's beautiful when it's working, but if the melody line does like a bit of pitch changing, then it's probably not going to work as well. And also this layout thing is a bit of a thing to sort out as well. Choirs and solo. Let's just do Dreaming. I mean, the core vocal sound of it is super, super beautiful, and obviously they know how to do that stuff with the Aethera experience. Again, just the kind of the playability of it wouldn't be need to figure it out at your end as a composer. String textures. I mean, how much stuff is in here? Seriously. Okay, let's do soft texture. So the core sound of it is actually, I'm surprised how good that is. It actually, you know, that would, in a sort of a more distant, romantic, maybe a bit sort of oldish sounding violins, that could pass really well. A bit like you can hear that it doesn't have, it sort of does, I don't know what the word is. Maybe it's the effects processing, and maybe the sampling is a bit sort of uniform. That kind of reveals its quality. But yeah, the effects are quite specific also here. But it's surprisingly good, and that could actually, in certain situations, for certain sounds, be really, really nice. Yeah, the core sound is beautiful, very well sampled in that regard. Obviously, we have a lot of reverb here, which is, you know, probably, you know, intentionally creating that, obviously, that sound, but also affecting the realism here. And we'll say also the dynamic control here, like when you play quieter, it blends quite nicely here. Obviously that plays with the reverb and everything, but it's surprisingly expressive. Getting some CPU clips here. Again, there's something a bit wonky with my system, but if you hear the clicks there, that's the CPU. Yeah, these are actually pretty interesting. With more time, I would love to take off the effects and get to know kind of the engine a bit more, you know, what it's doing there. Combination. Very cool sound design. Again, you get those pitchy elements, so it kind of limits what you can do with it, but they're, you know, leaning towards trying to be those kind of key focal points in your track and mix. Horror on Kepler. That's super nice. Again, I know it says horror, and I can understand why, but you can that goes way beyond that genre. Those articulations. That behaves really well. That's a good example of how like really good, interesting sampling and how it can be. Because those are kind of like waves or textures. I keep hitting the mic for some reason. Super tired today. Good example of how good sampling, creative sampling, and putting it in this engine in a way makes it super realistic, super playable, super inspiring, but it doesn't have to do, I would estimate, doesn't do anything super crazy complex under the hood. But that's very, very nice. Very nice. Makes me want to dig in deeper here and find more of those, but let's do simple texture. Really loving this kind of stuff. Sounds pretty much perfect. Texture ARP. Cool. Okay, we gotta move on. Kepler trailer hit. Oh, I gotta press this button here. Okay, so now we're in trailer hits. Looks simpler here. So we've got different colors. I presume these are going to be loud. Because you got a bunch of those. Cool. Maybe a bit on the harsher end in terms of the mix for me. I understand they want to give it that extra edge so that they punch through, but still. These are hybrid low percussion. Okay, so again, you get like a pretty limited set of things here. These are like smaller patches or collections. Again, some of these go a bit too hard on my taste, but something like this sounds more kind of more breathing and natural and raw. I like that because you can still hear, like it's a more breathing percussive sound. So I like that. Hybrid high percussion. Again, same thing. I would maybe back off a bit on the reverb and compression, but so again, you can see that some of these are like super small, just like a small instrument, which is kind of like, is this the best layout for all of this? Maybe. Oh, obviously the upside is, you know, you can load these small, you don't have to load a bunch of stuff you don't need, but again, this one is Kepler bass. Very cool. I like that. It's gritty and kind of rattling. Good stomps if you want to go like for bigger hits. I would obviously love to have more sort of resolution here, and also have the same note on two different keys, so I could do something like play it faster, because now we have two different sample sets here. Also pretty hard to reach those very quiet ones. Hard for me to estimate this one because the crane is resonating. Yeah, you can probably hear that. Resonating at a certain frequency, so well, that's a very rainbow like color scheme there on the keys. That's the limiter crapping out. Cool. Going into Kepler Whoosh. Oh, these sound really good. There's a very nice like sub level there, gives you that kind of weight, but then you have this, there's not too much stuff. All the essentials are there, and it's very well mixed. Nice. That's gonna be good. Because apparently you have the same ones here, but with a bit of a flanger or other processing. Then you have a shorter one. Yep. Alright, going into Kepleria voice true legato. So these are like different phrases, I guess, or whatever. Not really phrase, but like a vowel consonant combination. And then you can choose the pitch here. Would be nice to see what vowel or consonant it's saying. So let's see if I turn off the... Yeah, so I'm turning on the effects. Turned off, sorry. But it still obviously has that kind of modulating quality to it. So you can't undo that. So you're kind of stuck if you don't like it. So obviously here you gotta combine the vowels, I guess, or you know, sections of that in a way that triggers the legato in a sensible way. So you gotta... I wish it did show me what it was saying, like even some kind of a summary of it. But yeah, there's the Dune voice. Dark. Wait a minute. Dark. Dark. Yeah, cool. So there's that thing. It legatos really nicely when you combine these different things. Obviously, then you've got to play with the pitch here if you want to change pitch there, but it's up to you. So there's not like a sophisticated legato here. Because you can harmonize this, so that would kind of not make it possible. So there's that. Then you have Kepler breath sequence.
Ha, go, is, go. Ra, ra. Ra, ra, ra. Ha. Ra, ra. Ra, ra, ra. Bow, ro. Bow, bow. Is, za, za, no.
I just realized that we have changed. No, it seems to have stayed the same size. My speaking is all over the place today. I'm legit many days tired now, so I do apologize. So, okay, yeah, builder reset note. This one is, I don't know what. Builder 1 step forth. And then on these yellow ones, changes the cycle somehow. So those are cool if you want to add some rhythmic elements like that. Ooh, that's a pretty badass picture. It's a really cool super mech. Obviously you would want to adjust the ADSR to fit your rhythm for your track, but those sound really solid. Cool. Kepleria voice scream. Yeah, there you have those. Gives you the key and the BPM as well. Did we actually go into... Okay, yeah, we're in voice screams. So yeah, you got the keys for that, the BPMs as reference. And yeah, that's it. I mean, again, these sound super rock solid, and you get a ton of them. Obviously we've got 1, 2, 3, almost 4 octaves of these, and it's only 1 key, so yeah, plenty of those to choose from. Nice. I'm gonna open the chord designer here to wrap this up, and we're actually gonna, let's move this over here, let's move this like this, and let's center that vertically. There we go. So we can kind of summarize this up. As you saw, or many of these ones, after we got past the first few instruments, they're kind of smaller instruments that do very specific things. So we got through them a lot faster, thankfully, because this is yeah, there's a lot of stuff to go through. Right off the bat, like for me, the strongest elements here are absolutely the chord designer, the texture designer. Super solid things like the chord designer, all the rhythmic patterns pretty much throughout were just stellar. Like they represent the best kind of production on a mixing quality stuff for me here. And again, they're not, I wouldn't by any means just lock them in the style of, oh, this does Dune or whatever. You know, they seem super multi-purpose and just can work in so many different styles and genres. So those hands down were really the strongest ones for me. And again, we only scraped the surface. I mean, just the chord designer and texture designer are just so full of stuff. So it again kind of sucks for me that I cannot really show as much as I would like to, but I hope I've done this some justice. But yeah, for me, the rhythmic elements, just by far the strongest. Really liked in the texture designer the more paddy stuff. It kind of combines the sound design with the paddy elements super nicely. In terms of the percussion, wouldn't probably be my, it's not my favorite thing in here. I would probably pull back a lot of the processing there and use these in a sort of more supplementary things, because it's kind of one of those cases sometimes you need something very specific, and I can easily see how these would cater to that, those specific instances and conditions. But in terms of going for these, in terms of my general percussive needs, wouldn't be pulling them up. But again, and what's good about this kind of approach is that they're very small patches, very small presets that do very specific things. So if I know, okay, I need that, like for example, the sub or what were they? I think they were some kind of booms or something, but they had like the perfect sub low end. So I would just go for that and use it and find it there. Really happy to have the whooshes there. There are never too many whooshes in my experience. And again, the vocals here are sort of far more specific to kind of the Dune style. If you want to go for those things, they're here. They're done in a good quality fashion. So there you go. Those will cover those bases for sure. And like I said, there's so many of these the voice scream things in there. So if you're looking for that, it does it like that. Finger snap. I also really liked some of these random things that we heard, like some of the guitars in there sounded really, really cool. Many of them didn't sound like guitars, which I really liked. So really looking forward to finding more of those random pieces in there, because they were super nicely done. But yeah, I mean, like they had this sort of very strong presence, but a pleasant puffy edge, so you can actually listen to them for long, but you don't lose any of the presence and those kind of qualities. But yeah, I would really recommend this for the rhythm elements, like the rhythm beds and stuff like that. They're so punchy and driving, and also many of these sound designy atmosphere pad things are super solid. Cool. I think that's it for this video. Again, I kind of feel bad because there's just so much stuff in here. Again, Elements does not stand for a light or small library. So, you know, I hope I did it some justice at least. But so much more to dive in, especially in the Chord Designer and Texture Designer. So if you have this at your studio or at your home, let me know what you think. You'll probably be have the ability to dig in there a lot more than I do in this short video. So let me know what you hear and what you find. Also let me know what you think of this video. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Finished.